Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cinematic Trinity, where we talk movies, games and TV shows. And this week we are tackling Wicked Part 1. Let's get into it. So here we are again with another musical this year. After Joker Foliadur, we're here with, an actual stage show.
A real musical.
Yeah, so Wicked Part 1, the adaptation of the West End, 2003 stage show. But yeah, they split into two parts. We saw it yesterday. We're here in the Christmassy mood now. So, Tulip, what were your initial thoughts of the movie?
Well, I'd seen so much about this film online, obviously, with the big, marketing push and Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo just being, a bit
odd in
a
there.
little bit odd,
yeah.
But lovely, if they're happy and they're genuinely like that, then great, but not if they're if it's all for show. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, are you being serious that you're this ethereal and positive and
I was thinking
stuff?
the same thing the other day. If it was me interviewing them, obviously they're very much they respond to the interviewer's question oh my god, that's I'd be like, are you taking the mic? Are you sincere?
Yeah.
But I think they might just be like
they
that.
Must be.
They've done it so often, they must just be like that. And I can't say I've ever seen Ariana Grande be interviewed before.
Yeah, to be fair, I've only seen brief clips of her.
It's only when those two are together, isn't it? That's the thing. That's when it's weird.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if they kind of feed off each other's energy in that kind of way.
Maybe.
It's a bit. I'm certainly not like that. They're very good at taking the compliments, aren't they?
Yeah.
When somebody's good at taking a compliment because they're like, oh my god, yeah, that's so powerful. That's that's so fantastic to hear. Or I should just be like, oh, thanks. I wouldn't know what to say. So, but they must be used to it. They must
definitely
have to deal with it all the time.
Yeah.
How many, all the compliments they must get. It's not like I get that many on a daily basis.
But this film, it is the Wizard of Oz is the world that it's set in. So Wicked as a story is how the Wicked Witch of the West came to be evil, and her relationship with Galinda the
Good Witch.
Good, yeah. I guess I didn't think she had a name just because you're
I think that she becomes Galinda the Good Witch.
Okay, right.
In the Wizard of Oz,
yeah,
she's called the Good Witch.
So, respectively, you got Ariana Grande playing Galinda, and then Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, is played by Cynthia Erivo. I think on the whole, their performances were really good. I think Ariana Grande is kind of our consensus.
I think she steals the show.
Yeah,
actually, yeah, she really does. Every time she was on screen, I was like, oh yeah, I'm really liking this. And then as soon as she wasn't on screen, I was like, this isn't as good without Ariana Grande on her back. She was really, she was the shining. If she wasn't in it, then I probably wouldn't have got as much enjoyment out of it as I did, even though I didn't get much enjoyment out of it.
Oh, spoilers.
But yeah, no, she was absolutely brilliant, and the singing was incredible. Especially from her. I think that Cynthia is brilliant, and obviously she does Defying Gravity and stuff. But Defying Gravity is a song. Although it's very catchy in a way, and it's it's been in my head for a good couple of weeks, I'm not a big fan of that. Belting. They call it belt where you're belting. Yeah. I don't like that.
That's the one
as a kind of singing.
Which
the
is
end
the
one.
war cry though.
Yeah. Well done, babe.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that kind of singing isn't really for me. It's Jessie J. And my mum will listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about, because mum always says Jessie J just shouts, and that's what belting is. Basically, you're kind of just shouting. And it's not, and I don't really like it.
You can't be Jessie J when she did Jessie J when she did the I was gonna say literally then that was brilliant. But yeah, I think I think it's quite average. I think the people who like the show have a good appreciation for it, because
the theatre kids, it's probably great for them.
We went into it and I'd seen a bunch of people on TikTok say it was good, so that's why we went to go see it. It was kind of the general impression.
We probably wouldn't have seen it if there hadn't been so many people saying it's genuinely brilliant.
Yeah,
it's really good. I probably wouldn't. I would have given it a miss, to be honest, because my musical not musical
Tolerance.
knowledge. Yeah, my
Yeah.
tolerance for musicals is quite low.
Right.
It has to like really blow me away.
Yeah.
Or, you know, because sometimes like people burst into song and I'm just like, this doesn't sit right with me. Like, can't we all just have a conversation? You know, like there's something about it, unless it's like perfect. But also then, you know, I love Grease. I love High School Musical, so other people might think that they're rubbish, you know.
Well, it's like I said to you, isn't it? It's like, because it took me ages being like, oh, why are you like this with musicals? Because some of your favourite films are musicals. It's just like, you know, some of your favourite films could be action films, but you're not going to like every single action film. You could love musicals, but you're not going to like every musical.
I think it's just the first time I hear it, I'm a bit like, I don't know how to feel. But if I've heard it quite a few times, then I get over the kind of whatever.
Kind of like going into Wicked, like seeing people's reactions online. There are a few people doing like a trend of like, here's me before seeing Wicked, here's me afterwards, and they'd be like crying in the cinema. And I was just like, sitting there like, it's just not going to happen. Like, this film isn't going to make me. So whether it's just you do resonate with the stage show and then you're like, oh my god.
I think it is. I think if you've seen the stage show and you love that, then you will really enjoy this, I think, from what people are saying.
I mean, I definitely agree
but it holds more power, doesn't it?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the review, or like the sentiment that this is a good adaptation, because it's kind of like one of those ones where you watch the stage show and you're like, oh, this could do being a movie, but then like and it translates really well to this. So I think like there is some good like set pieces, and like how they perform some of the songs is really like interesting.
I think it's quite an interesting story behind it all. Like, I'm more interested. We were talking, literally having the same conversation as last night. May as well film it in the car. But I was saying that I'm more interested in the lore. I feel like actually I should probably just read the book, or have somebody just tell me what
10-minute YouTube video.
I want to watch a retrospective for somebody to tell. I would get more enjoyment out of that, you know.
I agree.
It's almost similar with Dune. Like, the reason why I love Dune Part 1 so much, obviously it's different now Part 2 is out, but when I was watching Part 1, I was like, so much going on. But we had Isaac there to give me all the lore, so I was like, interesting, you know. So it's almost like you need that throughout this, of somebody who really loves it already to tell you like all the reason why things are happening. And I think I get more enjoyment out of that stuff rather than just appreciating it for what it is.
No, I think like all the Wizard of Oz stuff was interesting, like sort of what the wizard's whole deal is. Like, is he magical, is he not magical, like that whole thing. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And like just him being like this, like, especially at the beginning of the film, like this unspoken or like unseen figure, and it's like, oh, I'll talk about the wizard, like this background figure, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. And then like they go see him, and it's like Emerald City, and like his massive like head mechanical thing looks really cool. And it's like, if this was like a movie, like if this wasn't a musical, this would be pretty cool, you know. But like, I think it's not like Joker 2 bad in terms of the musical. I said to you as well, like,
it's very different.
It's the two ends of the spectrum where like this is a successful musical, like every song that comes on feels like earned. It's not like, where the hell did this come from? It's like, oh yeah, no, it's a musical number, good, like, you know, good songs, blah 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 blah, I can roll with it. But like, I feel like as well the runtime really hindered this film.
It was so long, and I'd had such a long day anyway that I was exhausted by the time that we got to the cinema. And there was a couple of times that I did close my eyes. I just couldn't help myself. Like, I was exhausted. So it did it. What I was expecting to happen, because I'd heard such good things, I was expecting to go to the cinema. I said, you drive there, I'll drive back. And I thought, I'll be buzzing by the time, because it's going to be such a good film. It's going to capture me. I'm going to be wide awake. But I wasn't. I was falling asleep, and I was even more tired by the end of it. And I got straight in bed and I fell fast asleep, you know. So I think that just kind of shows what I got out of it. You know, it didn't capture me enough to keep me awake.
So if you're seeing Wicked, beware, you need to schedule your day around it. You can't be too tired when you go see it. But it is like, you know, with ads and trailers, it's a 3-hour movie, so like it does feel like it drags.
We left the house at about 20:07, and we got back about 10 to 11. That's a long time to be out of the house for a film that isn't
for part.
Brilliant.
I think for like a part 1, because this was the same issue as I Doom Part 1 actually, because like you're kind of thinking, oh well, if the second part's crap, this is complete waste of time, especially because like they're kind of, I think, pretty much similar lengths as well. Like it's all kind of building up, explaining the lore, explaining the world, like what everyone's deal is, and then the second part gives you your payoff, you know. Whereas like this one, it just feels so long. I feel like you could have trimmed a good half an hour off this film and it still would have been good.
A lot of like lingering shots and some of the musical numbers, they did go on a little bit long, and it's like, right, we don't need to hear this chorus again, like can we just you know, not like, can we just like move on now? So yeah, there was something about, because if I look at everything like separately, like Ariana Grande, brilliant, she was fantastic, she stole the show, her voice is incredible, like honestly, such a beautiful voice. And she was really funny as well.
Yeah, no, she
like,
was good.
Such like light-hearted. And I remember she did an interview and she was saying that they were going to try and put like a bit of a pop spin on some of the songs, and she was like, no, because I don't want to be Ariana Grande playing Galinda. I just want to be Galinda. And I think she does it really well. Like you forget that she, you know, she was an actress, you know, before she was like a pop star. Really, I mean, it's only in like Disney.
So you're only talking like
but still, you know, and I think you can tell like the love that both of them have for it, and I appreciate that. I like that, you know, very good. And the songs, you know, some of them are catchy, you know, popular, great. Defying Gravity, it's good in the moment, but it's not like it's not the kind of thing for me. So I was kind of just waiting for that to happen, to be honest. I was just like, is it going to end with Defying Gravity? Like, I bet it is. And then she started singing it, and I was like, right, it's going to be the end soon because she's singing you know, I was kind of just like waiting for the songs that I knew.
I knew that was going to, because
I mean, like, I thought, I guessed that is how it would end.
Yeah.
But it is. So, yeah, but so there was just something about it
didn't grip you.
It didn't grip me, no. Like, and the goat in it, lovely, you know, and that was probably the only time that I felt sort of real emotion, was when the goat was being, you know,
discriminated.
I was like, oh, that poor goat, you know,
first,
remind me of Delilah with his little glasses on.
I know, the first movie we've watched in cinema where like the PG or like PG-12U 18-15 rating comes up, and it was like discrimination was like, and you're just like, oh, like, you know, what's going on?
I was like, well, discrimination against who? The goat? And I was like, well, no, against the whole witch, because she's green and everybody like hates her because she's green, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where but anyway, it was, and you know, and as I say, it's a really good story as well, like, and I'm looking forward to seeing, because I don't know the story of Wicked. You're looking forward to
reading the Wikipedia article about what happens in part 2.
Yeah, but if you said, oh, Wicked part 2's out, do you want to go and watch it? I'd be like, actually, I don't know if I've got the energy.
If it's less than 2 hours, I'll go see it.
It won't be.
No.
It won't. It'll be just as
I mean, it's interesting you said they filmed it back to back, so I think it is like proper coming out next year kind of thing.
It probably will be quite soon.
Yeah, I think it's alright. I also will say, like, the trailer did spoil quite a lot of what happens in the movie. I mean, obviously, if you've seen the play, you know what's going to happen. But I feel like you could have pieced it all together from, like, watching the trailer, and I was like, oh, nothing came as, like, a surprise.
No.
In this movie, kind of thing. So
they could have maybe done a better job of.
I think it's just the problem. It's the problem with, like, trailers in general, though. Like, we went to, when we saw it, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 came up, and then, like, that spoiled, like, a bunch of stuff, and I was just
ruined it, because it was supposed to be that they get. The way that the first trailer, it was like, oh, we're going to get Jim Carrey to come back and help us against Shadow. Yeah. But now it's like he's the villain again. And it's just like, well, why didn't you just like, not that we literally care one bit about, we've not even seen them, we literally do not care one bit, and I hate Jim Carrey, as you know. So, but I was just like, what? I feel like through the trailers I've just watched the film. I don't, you know. Yeah. So it's a bit weird, but. Yeah, it just didn't capture me in the way that I was hoping it would, to be honest. Like, I really wanted to enjoy it. I thought, oh, you know, maybe a good musical will be nice at the moment, you know, bit of singing, bit of dancing, nice. But my favourite one was Popular, and Ariana Grande doing that. I thought, I did think that was fantastic, and like the humour there and stuff like that. Brilliant, loved it. And I like the way that she was flipping her hair, and I think that's all, you know, tribute to the stage show, because the first person who, you know, played Galinda did all the hair flips and stuff like that. And how she was kind of just acting and then she just kind of like start singing like, you know, it all felt really natural, so it wasn't like, God, what a weirdo, you know, like singing, you know, it all felt really natural. So honestly, like, she was brilliant. Like, I would just rather watch like the clips of her.
Yeah, she did a good.
But everybody else was kind of like, I don't really care about you.
No, fair enough.
Literally, yeah.
Where would this fall in our rating scale for you?
What was that? What was the scale? What's the one?
Awful, boring, it's alright. Go and watch it. Masterpiece.
What did I say?
I think you said it was boring.
I think I did say boring. I think maybe it's a between and it's alright and it's boring. I certainly wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
Right, yeah.
Because I think musicals in themselves are quite like a niche thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you are kind of into them or you're not.
Well, look at Joker 2. Like, how many people didn't
Stop
go see that?
comparing it to Joker.
It's a music. I have to. It's
I know,
a
but it's not the same. It's
Yeah.
not musical theatre. I'm right. Let's musical theatre. If you're not into musical theatre, which I am not, then you're probably not going to get the same enjoyment as somebody who loves musical theatre and loves to go to the theatre and watch musicals and stuff like. Like, I would never, ever, ever dream of going to see The Lion King.
Les Mis.
I would go and see Les Mis, but I like the film. Like, the film for me came... Well, I knew some of the songs, of course.
Film before
but
stage
it was
show.
film before, so I'd watch it because I love the songs.
Yeah.
You know, but I wouldn't never have gone to watch it, or, you know, even Grease. I would never watch Grease on stage because it just wouldn't be the same as the film. The film is just like I feel like it's mine, you know, and I wouldn't want to see like anybody else playing those characters.
Yeah.
So musical theatre is not my thing. So I think if you're not into it, then I don't think this is going to capture people enough.
Right, okay.
But I don't know. I could be...
I
could just be being negative.
I'm going to go for an it's alright just because I feel like the runtime, the fact that it's like part 1 of 2, and just like... I don't know, it just didn't grip me as much in terms of just like, again, some of the songs were good, performances were good, there were some good elements. I think it was a very well-made film with a good story.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm not going to be raving about it. I'm not going to say it's like the best film of this year. When we've watched like 2024 has been a good year for films, but I feel like this isn't like, you know, up there in the echelons of good 2024 movies.
Yeah, like if you said to me, right, we've got 3 hours and we can watch one film, I wouldn't pick this.
No.
You know, like I'd pick because I do like, I can watch a long film, I really can, but it has to be right.
I just fall for like a kind of a comparison, like nearly similar runtimes. You got like The Substance and then this, and like both Substance, very very good film. Like we didn't review on the podcast, but very very good film.
Yeah, brilliant.
So like, you know, that grips you throughout, and it's not like, again, it's not a musical, so I think that might be something, but like, you know, good story, good original story. It's just
very original.
But then like you look at it, you're like, it's like 2 and a bit hours. Oh, that might be a bit of a struggle, but it wasn't. So, you know, that was really, really good.
Some long films are like Wolf of Wall Street. I could watch that now. I could sit and watch that now. Titanic, I could sit and watch it now. You know, like all those films are long. But if you said, "Oh, do you want to watch Killers of the Flower Moon for 3 hours?" I'd be like, "Well, no, thank you."
Yeah.
So yeah, but also if you said, "Do you want to watch Justice League?" Zack Snyder's Justice League, I'd be like, "Yes, stick it on." It just, you really have to bring it if you're doing a long film. You can have an hour and a half film and it'd be all right. You're like, but it was only an hour and a half. Fine, you know, I'll put up with it. But if you're like garnering that runtime, it's got to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then the runtime is just gonna bring it way down.
Which this kind
in my estimations.
Which this definitely has. So I think we'll move on to some quick spoilers and then we'll sort of wrap this up, because there's not a huge amount to talk about because it's part 1 of 2, but there's a few little bits. So let's get into some spoilers. This is your spoiler warning.
Spoilers ahead.
I feel like the only spoilers I can remember are things that are not even in this film and that are in the next film, like Act 2.
Okay.
But I know them because I've seen them online, you know.
I'd say...
So what are the actual spoilers from this? The fact that...
this one, the kind of ends, like the whole end goal is the wizard wants Elphaba to like read this magic book.
Yeah. So the whole point of the story is that she's gone to this school, Shiz University.
Crap name for a school, I will say.
It's very whimsical, isn't it? And they did do my thing that my pet hate of
Making
making
up
up words. Making up words. I really, even though it was kind of like a play on the original, like horrendous. It's like, can we not please like just say horrendous? Like I cannot bear it. Hate made up words.
I didn't think that was a thing in like in Wizard of Oz. I didn't think they did that. Whether it's just like a stage play thing.
And do you know what's absolutely hilarious that I hadn't thought about until recently was how much I used to love The Wizard of Oz. I absolutely loved the original with Judy Garland. I loved that film. I used to watch it on repeat, all the songs. I thought it was, so again, I thought that was brilliant. You know, like I really, like, I'd like to watch it again. I feel like I watched it recently. Brilliant. What was I saying?
I don't know the point you were going to make there, to be honest.
So she's gone to Shiz University.
Yes.
She's at Shiz University. Ariana Grande is trying to be a sorceress, but she can't really do it. But Elphaba has got this, you know, power already. You know, she can make things happen when she's angry and stuff like that. So they're kind of grooming her to be this, you know, master sorceress. So she goes to see the Wizard of Oz because she's starting to be able to control her powers, I guess, you know, but not really.
It's like she's magic, isn't she?
Yeah. So she goes to see the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz says, right, this is lovely. Can you read this book? She can read the book and therefore cast the spells from the book. And they're like, great, we've finally got somebody who can read this book. The wizard is supposed to be able to read it, but he can't. Nobody can read this book. Elphaba's the first person. But because that she wants to save the animals, who are all currently, you know, they can speak at the moment, but their plan is to stop them from speaking. I don't really know why
it's
they
kind of
want
like,
to do that, but
it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz is like this weird, like almost like colonial figure. He's come to this foreign land and he's kind of just like taken over. So it's kind of like, here are all these magical creatures. They could all talk. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to make cages. They're all going to go in the cage. They're going to stop talking because I'm in charge, basically.
Yeah. So she was like trying to fight against that and saying, you know, my wish, my heart's desire is for you to help the animals. But it was him all along. So she was like, well, no, I'm not putting up with this. Like, I don't care about being a sorceress.
I'm going to
defy
gravity.
Yeah, I'm just going to go and I'm just going to be on my own.
Yeah.
But because she defies them, you know, they say, right, well, we're just going to make you the enemy and we're just going to come and kill you, basically. Yeah. So that's how she becomes the Wicked Witch of the West.
That's pretty much
she
where
was
it ends.
never really wicked. It was all a plot, you know.
Yeah, and I ain't fair watching it. I didn't realise that the monk. I mean, it might have been this way in the actual like original film and book. But I didn't realise she's the reason the monkeys have wings, because that's like the thing. She reads the first spell and it's to give them all wings, and then like obviously it's really painful. The monkeys hate her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you'd be like, oh, didn't realise that's why. This film was like very much. It felt very like Marvel-esque with like the references to like Wizard of Oz, when they're like, oh, there's this brick road that leads to the Emerald City, but I don't know what colour it should be. And it's just like, and then like, you know, there's like her with her broom and like her with a hat, and then it's just like all these like, oh, like, you know,
the Oz cinematic universe.
Yeah. So it felt very like the references. I mean, again, you can get some kick out of it if you like love the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, of course
it's just,
you are.
In my mind, I was just like, this kind of seems more funny than like anything, but there's a few like, you know, how do people get here? I mean, there's like setup for characters in part 2, like, you know, who's going to be the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, stuff like that.
How does, you know, the Wizard of Oz, the film, link into it and stuff like that?
I really like the Wizard, like I like his like just the fact that he is just this normal guy who just came to this
I just don't like the fact that it's Jeff Goldblum.
Do you not like Jeff Goldblum?
I don't know. I don't think I do because he just plays Jeff Goldblum.
It's like, but
play somebody else. Like I can't bear it. You know.
I like his charm.
I don't think I'll be able to do my impression.
His singing was a bit like, you know.
Yeah, but luckily he doesn't really have many singing parts.
That's the thing. So. It's the same with Michelle Yeoh, who plays like the head of the Shiz, like the sorcery department, Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. She has like one song, but it's kind of that weird one where she's like speaking, singing. But Jeff Goldblum is just doing his normal like
that's what he does. He's like, I think this is perfect, you know, something like he's clicking all the. To be fair, I do that.
So you're
when
Jeff
I'm
Goldblum.
at work, I click. I'm like, oh, do you know what happens like that? And I'm clicking and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm such an idiot.
He
does it as well.
You are the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, God, no.
We're going to take the monkeys and we're going to say... I can't do Jeff Goldblum. That's like the one. Like, he's a weird one to like
It's weird because he's kind of hunched over, isn't he? But just a little bit. Not like Christopher Walken, you know. Like, I feel like he's hunched over. He's just hunched over a little bit and he's always... got his hands. I can't even think of something that he says. It's
no,
just
Jeff Goldblum's just he's just like he can't quite finish a sentence, and then the witch comes, and then we have to do these things in ours, and there's a road, and we're gonna make it yellow. That's probably the best I can try at Jeff Goldblum.
That was good.
That's like the laugh he does in the Jurassic Park helicopter, which is like, oh, I see you've already become acquainted with Dr. Morgan.
I don't know.
I'll have to play it for you later, but that's like
I can't remember.
Get it up on screen now. Yeah, he was alright. So yeah, I think like his turn of him being like the villain, I think is like an interesting concept. Again, maybe I'd rather see like a YouTube video or I did read like a Wikipedia article about it. Yeah. When it came here, it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. He's just like a con man who just came to this magical place and just took it over, and they all just think he's like God, basically. And I liked the sound design of like his like big head and like his little
that was cool.
Yeah, like him when he first meets Alphaba and Glinda, like that was pretty cool.
But
yeah, no, it's like spoilers here. I don't know whether to go into like stuff that's going to happen in part 2.
I don't think we should.
I think the last thing I'll say is I like how the opening I said to you seemed like a Netflix documentary, because it's like the end of Wizard of Oz, so it's like panning over like the bucket of water, and then like Elphaba's hat. It's just like the Wicked Witch of the West is dead, and I was just like, this seems like it could be like an opening to a Netflix like true crime. 10 years ago, Elphaba was found dead in Oz.
See, that's what I'd rather watch. I'd rather just watch a documentary that was as if it was real life.
Making a wicked witch rather than making a murderer. And then, I could just imagine it just going into like a title sequence there. Play Billie Eilish. What do you want from me? Going to true detective territory. Yeah, honestly, like that's the thing. Like you could go scene by scene, but it's just like not a lot happened that like interested me. I thought like Elphaba's sister was a bit annoying. So obviously she's like, Elphaba comes out green. Her mum, like her dad, really, in like paranoia when her mum gets pregnant again, like makes her take all these like I assume like
old-timey medicine
that makes her sister come out and basically is crippled. She's like, in a wheelchair. So like her sister's like, oh, this is my big chance to do all these things, and you keep embarrassing me. I was just like, all right, calm down. Like, the first time, I understand, but every time since, it's just like, get over yourself. You've been awful to your sister. Like your sister has to put up with a lot here. So there's no need. But yeah, honestly, you know what? It's like I'm struggling for words, Tulip, on this cinematic masterpiece that was Wicked.
I don't have any words.
No. I think, no idea what else really to say about that for the spoilers. I feel like, go watch it if you want to sort of see the interesting tidbits of like story and like the Wizard of Oz lore here. But otherwise, if you're not into musicals, and maybe if you'd rather wait to see the complete package, like buy a Wicked 1 and 2 DVD box set, or like binge them or something, so you watch the complete story, do that, I think. But there's some good bits here, but I think overall that's kind of been our review for Wicked. Not too sure what we'll be talking to you about next week if we are here. We've been busy. We went to Wales last week, had a very nice time there. It was the village that they filmed Hot Fuzz, but what is it? It's actually it's UK's
England's smallest city.
English smallest city.
So you were like, oh, well, I thought it was just a village, and it's like, no, that's the film. Like, in the film, it's supposed to be like a village, but it's actually the smallest city. So very beautiful.
Very nice time. Good walking around there.
In fact, if you said, would you rather recommend going to Wales or watching Wicked, I'd say go to Wales.
There you go.
That's my recommendation for today.
I'll put some B-roll of us just pottering about Wales.
No!
But I want to thank you very much, guys, for listening to this episode of the Cinematic Trinity. In the meantime, though, I've been Michael.
And I've been Tulip.
And we'll see you in the next one.